I'm going to record it as well.
Oh, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's good morning here in Melbourne. And I'm Annette McCall. With me today is a Joy Hole Lily. Yay!
Yay!
I am so delighted to have Anayah here. She has stepped in because Marnie Perner is having a wonderful time in London with her daughter and son-in-law. So Anayah and I decided that we would talk about the mysteries of life.
What a good topic. It's a great topic. Yeah.
It is a great topic, Anayah.
Yeah.
And of course, you've got your book behind you there.
Yes.
And for me, that's one of the real mysteries of life, in that it took so long, and yet it was a perfect timing when it did finally become published.
Absolutely. 20 years. It was almost 20 years. And I kept sort of going through the, I'm letting the universe down thing. Maybe I should have, maybe I'm, lagging, or maybe I'm self-sabotaging. And of course, it came out in COVID. What better time to offer hope, comfort and support than worldwide? It was fabulous. And of course, now I'm recording the audio book with Brisbane Audiobooks with Simone, who is amazing. If you have an audiobook, I highly recommend you check out Brisbane Audiobooks. It's fantastic.
Excellent. Yes. Now, you with the audiobook, I know Marnie has used the same people, I think.
Yes, that's how I found out about it. See, word of mouth is powerful. Yeah. And by the way, Marnie's book, Calm Amid Chaos, on audiobook, I got mine from Audible, but it's available in lots of places, is such a wonderful listen and a really valuable resource as well. I just can't recommend it highly enough.
I have mentioned on here before, Anayah, that you have published a book that is well worth having beside us. Look at you. It's behind you there. But it's so handy, and Marnie's is the same, and Rosemary's How to Move Forward is one. They can all be used as, shall I say, I've got a question. And so to hold the book in my hand and ask the question, and then the page that opens or that I'm drawn to will have the answer.
Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. And in fact, I was talking to Simone about the format of the book, and we're going to do it so that every message is a chapter, so that you can literally go on to your device and just pick a chapter at random, and that will be your message. So it can be an oracle in the audiobook as well, which I absolutely love. Yeah.
And now you're in the process of doing the audiobook, aren't you?
Yes. So I'm back in the recording studio on September 4 here in Australia. So I'm hoping to get the rest of the book finished by then. But if not, there'll be another session, but I will definitely let you know on my page what's happening. And of course, angellight777.com or theangelcode.com. You can stay in touch with me there if you want to get any updates. And it's just a life changer, this book. It has been for me.
Well, yes.
Because the thing is, I didn't write it. That's the thing to really notice about. And if you're in that situation yourself where you're bringing through something beautiful from the angels or the universe, whatever, really have faith in that and stand in that power that, no, we didn't write the book, but we are it's like we're the godparent of the book, if you know what I mean. We help usher it out into the world and look after it and nurture it and let people know about it. And it's wonderful.
And you've had some wonderful feedback from people too, who have found the book at the precise moment that they needed to. It's answered questions.
Absolutely. Which has been an amazing experience all on its own, to know that, because my fear was so great around publishing this book and being seen in the world in a bigger way. remembering it was 20 years ago when this journey started. And having that feedback personally is wonderful, but it goes beyond that. It's knowing that this incredible energy, these angel codes are working in people's lives on a daily basis, really fills me with so much gratitude, Annie. It's amazing. Yeah.
And see, I was going to say that's one of the mysteries. We never really know what's before us. Look at us, you on Angel Heart Radio, and the opportunity it's given me. And I was talking to Robbie Holtz the other day, and she said, are you still doing that? You know, it's so many years. And it is. Are we coming up 13?
13 years. Next month. 13 years. Well and truly a teenager now.
Oh, Carol Ann Cross has joined us. How wonderful.
Yeah,
Carol Ann, good morning.
Good morning, beautiful. It's amazing.
Divine. I'd like to remind people, Anayah, because we're having a lovely, lovely chit-chat, that these shows should never replace legal, medical, nor professional advice, nor your own sound judgment. Because what speaks to me doesn't necessarily speak to you, and it certainly might not speak to our audience. So by all means, I hope you enjoy our shows, and yes, they might open your thoughts about different things, and then we make up our own mind.
Absolutely. And as you said, you know, with our own inner wisdom and sound judgment, it's really important, isn't it, that we remember we do have sound judgment, because it's very easy to be self-critical or feel like we don't know as much as the next person. And those things are all, you know, thoughts. They're not truths. But the truth is your heart and, you know, your energy is very wise, and going into that place of wisdom is so nourishing and so empowering. And hey, I don't live there all the time either. But when I'm not there, it really shows me how important it is when I choose to be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to know that, because I used to be very wishy-washy. You know, if one person said to me it's black, I'd go, yeah, it's black. And the next person would say it's white, and I go, yeah, it's white.
Yeah, it's definitely white.
So instead of going, oh, I might think it's grey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and was exactly the same for me. And that in itself is a great example of when we're not tuning in to our own inner wisdom, because when we do tune in, it brings with it a great sense of empowerment and support and even structure in our lives. You know, it's absolutely wonderful and really magical. And it's like a miracle when you've spent your life not believing in yourself.
Yeah. I think this lifetime is certainly there for us to learn that. And as you say, I'm not there all the time either. Little things come up and press my buttons, and then I remember.
I've got some rather handy buttons going on myself.
To trust, that's the big one, and know and I find it interesting because at times when I sort of might doubt what's happening, then something will happen and I'll get a message from the angels. It's like, all is under control, even though I might not think so. It's simply, as you said, life unfolding. Yeah.
And it's another interesting thing on that same vein for me at the moment. I shared a memory on my Facebook page today from a year ago when I was right in the midst of such dreadful pain and fear. And it was a great reminder how things unfold and change, and it's taking the steps we need to keep our focus as much as possible. And sometimes that's not very much. But as the angels have shown me, even a little bit counts. You know, it's like a little bit of kindness. Even a little bit of kindness counts. It doesn't have to be 100%. If you can only manage, you know, 0.5%, for example, that's enough. It's enough to get the ball rolling. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, however you're feeling, you know, don't think that you've got to be right up there. You've got to be 100% on track, because you don't. Yeah.
Do you know, I read a story about a young man who at 17, for whatever reason, was thrown out of home and found himself on the streets. And it was a real eye-opener to him, boy. And he said it was amazing, the people who helped him along the way. And he said, when you're on the street, he said, you're not necessarily looking for money. You don't have to have money from people. But the people who walk past and look the other way, he said, even a smile can change the person. And I realized that recently. Now, this young man, it was a brilliant story, because he, using his laptop and getting help, he was helping himself and other people helped. It was amazing how they came into his life. He's now a huge business owner, worth, I think it's millions. And he set up a foundation because he's determined to help the youth. But the bit that got me was the fact that it was just a little bit.
Yeah.
He said, a smile or a hello, rather than, because you're feeling down and out anyway. And if people look the other way, well, that's just another.
You're invisible. You're invisible. You feel invisible. And that's one of the loneliest feelings, isn't it? If we feel invisible. You're standing in a crowded room, and if you feel invisible, it's heartbreaking. Yeah.
That's right. The wallflower.
Such a great story. That's wonderful.
Yep.
And it's the choosing to share that helps other people. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So, where we feel there's no hope, as you said, just a little glimmer, there is always a glimmer. And I believe we go through whatever we're going through to help us learn to take the blinkers off, to learn about ourselves.
I agree.
I guess that's one of the mysteries, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Many.
It is, because you can be standing before a situation or smack bang in the middle of a situation or an event, and have absolutely no clue how in the world you're ever going to get to the other side, or find a way out, or find even the most tiniest bit of positivity in it. But there is that great mystery there, and it's there for everyone. And I have learned this time and time again over the years. I wasn't always positive, I can tell you. You know, there was a time when I was so toxic, even I couldn't stand my own company. And yet, it was really a tough time in my life. I was so angry and bitter and resentful over something that had happened, or a lot of things that had happened, actually. But then this little mystery popped up in the form of a chakra clearing meditation. And I just got drawn to it, and I listened to it, and I started working with my chakras. And also, I kept, that's right. And there was a, what do you call those sayings? Something you say over and over, whatever it is. And it was, I am willing to release that part of me which angers me when I think of you. Or you can say, or the situation. And I started saying that, honestly, it must have been about 200 times a day in the beginning, because I was so very toxic and so very angry and so very bitter. And bit by bit, I just kept saying it over and over again. And then about 3 months in, I suddenly noticed one day, I thought, I hadn't even thought about that today. And I was smiling and I was laughing at something, and I hadn't laughed for such a long time. It was like, and there was that little mystery just unfolding on a daily basis, so incrementally that I didn't even notice it was happening. And hey, presto, It was
See, what
all
I
the
like about
choice.
that, Anaya, is that we have to do it for ourselves. Other people can assist us, but we're the ones who have to say enough. Like, chocoholic, absolute chocoholic. I know that it's comfort because I know when I eat it. And then the other night I listened to Tyler Tolman, one of his free webinars, and I just decided, right, this is it. I'm doing a fast because I'm going away in less than 2 weeks, and into the warmth of Sri Lanka and the beautiful relaxation of the Maldives. Well, and what amazed me was I've been thinking about it for a long time and think, oh yes, well, tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow didn't come. But then when I did, it's amazing. And I know there's a girlfriend of mine who each year does a month fast around October, November. And I said to her once, oh, how can you do that? And now I know I'm only a few days in, but I'm not feeling hungry. Great. I am eating a small meal at night, but I figure that possibly will work for me.
Yeah,
but
what works for you, right? It doesn't have to be somebody else's prescription. You can modify it to suit ourselves, right?
Yep. And that's it, isn't it? Listening to our own bodies.
Yep.
Very important.
Very
now, Brenda
important.
Dunford has joined us, and hello, Brenda. She's written down some, I'm not quite sure, some numbers and whatever. So, Brenda, could you give us a little bit of feedback? Because this morning we're talking about the mysteries of life, and this is a mystery. So
good. Here's another mystery of life. And this is going to sound so mundane, but have a think about it. So I'm one person in this household. You have no idea how much linen was in my cupboard.
No, really?
Like 8 sets of sheets or something. And it was like, I know I need to clean out that cupboard, but I don't want to. They're all beautiful sheets, right? What if I ever need that tablecloth again? Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so yesterday I thought to myself, you know yourself, Annette, there's only one way forward through this, and that is you pull everything out of that cupboard, put it on the couch, and you'll have no option but to sort it out. And so I did. So I just started with a few pieces and put those on the couch. I was like, oh, okay. And then a few more, then a few more. Wow, I feel so liberated. I feel so liberated. I've got what I need and a little bit more.
Of course.
Which is fine. That's fine. But sometimes it's the simple things, and it's the simple ways that we begin them, because that energy then is now cleared, and so there's room for expansion to take place.
Indeed.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes things that we put off, like in the unit that I'm in at the moment, I have the tracks because I have sliding doors and I have sliding windows. Well, those little tracks get absolutely filthy. And this time last year, I can remember inquiring about how much it would cost to have them professionally done, and that was just out of the question. And then one of the other ladies here said, oh, a wet cloth, stuck in there will work. And yesterday I found myself doing one of the tracks. It's not perfect, but it's certainly a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've put it off for so long, and then all of a sudden, and I went, well, I could do one a day. What's the big deal?
One a week, one a month. It happens.
Yes.
And I think that's part of that mystery, isn't it? Instead of putting a lot of pressure on ourselves that we have to do something in a certain way in a certain time frame, why not? And coming back to the angel code, journey into the words whispered to me, was the same thing. Why not take simple steps along the way and have faith, believe that there is a timing, you know, there is an unfolding taking place all the time. And once we choose to step into that, it will continue and prosper and flourish in unexpected ways, as well as the mundane ways, which aren't really mundane because they open such a lot of energy. They feel mundane at the time, let's face it. You know what I mean? It's the magical and the mystery. It's so mind-blowingly fabulous. But if we don't choose to see it, then we just won't see it. It won't show up for us. It'll be there, but we won't recognize it.
Yes.
We won't experience it.
Yeah, you're very good, Anayah, because you remind people about kindness and gratitude. And I tend to say, oh, I hope you find the magic in today, because there will be at least one little bit of magic.
Yep.
The thing is, do we see it?
And when we do see it, do we brush it off like crumbs off the table without even noticing that we're doing it? Because that's really easy to do as well. And I think part of what Angel Heart Radio is about is just a little bit of a gentle reminder, because as you so aptly pointed out in the beginning, we're not here to advise people or tell people what they should or shouldn't be doing, but maybe a little nudge in the direction that, hey, maybe there's a way around that for you. Maybe if you ask the universe to show you clearly, maybe if you call on the angels, maybe if you go to church, if that's what you do, and pray for that clarity, whatever it might be. And maybe next time you're having a coffee morning with a friend, instead of talking about everything that's wrong, just start introducing the tiniest little things. Oh, the sun was beautiful this morning, or, I've got first bud in the garden, or I saw someone smiling at a child the other day, or someone patting their dog. It doesn't matter what it is. It's those things that really open the space up. Yeah.
Indeed. I heard a beautiful bird singing this morning. Now, years ago, probably, it was noise to me.
You probably would have thought, shut up, bird.
Yeah. Oh dear. And the beautiful flowers that are out at the moment, just divine.
Yep. And here in Brisbane, because it gets so hot, even in spring, sitting outside, the light's beautiful, it's not too hot. I actually have to remind myself to go out and enjoy that, because it's not going to last for much longer as the weather warms up. And yet, I have to actually remind myself to do it every day. What time is it? Have you been outside? No, go.
Right.
So, yeah. So sometimes it is a matter of reminding ourselves, and sometimes even making ourselves get out there and enjoy. Yeah.
Indeed. The simple things, and so often it is the simple things that give us great joy.
Absolutely. When I was I was picking up the kids, my grandkids, for school yesterday, and when it was time for us to leave, my daughter always gives really beautiful hugs to the kids. And she'd given me a hug, said, thanks, Mum. And she was getting ready for work. And then she gave the kids, this beautiful hug. And I looked at her and I said, that's the kind of hug I want. And she said, do you want a mummy hug? I want that kind of, So my grandson, Bailey, just turned around with this tenderness written all over his face, hugged me really deeply with his heart and said, I love you, Dee.
Oh.
Now, if I'd have just sat there, which normally I would have, and didn't say anything, right? That opened up that magical opportunity to experience that. Abby was in a bad mood. She was not giving me a hug for anything. I could have paid her and she wouldn't have given me a hug. You know what I mean? So,
but see, you accepted that as well. You could accept a beautiful hug from one grandchild who was ready to give it, and accept the fact that another one wasn't in the mood to do so.
Absolutely. And I dropped her off at school. It was like, I said, love you. But by the time I picked her up in the afternoon, it was lovely and exciting. And then she said, see, this is the mystery that goes unnoticed. Abby said, can we play that game this afternoon? And the game is so simple. I stand on the ground, they're on the trampoline. I've got to try and tag them. And every time I tag them, I get a hug. And,
Wow.
yeah. And it's so fun. And she said, this is my favorite game.
Mm.
How simple was that? So we stood there and I'm trying to tag the kids and they won't let me. And I've really got to work hard for it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
So, but that's what this is about.
Mm.
Not just taking that for granted, because the day's going to come very soon now where I'm going to say to Buddy, do you want to play that game? And he's going to be, nah, that's boring. That's for kids.
Mm. Mm.
So I'm really enjoying it while I have it with him. Other things will come in with him. But right now, I'm so blessed to have this and I just enjoy every little bit of it.
I think that's important, to appreciate and enjoy every stage of our grandies or our children. We'll be speaking to people today who have young children. They're younger than we are.
Yep.
We're very fortunate.
Exactly.
We have grandies, and I have friends who have great grandies. And we're very, very fortunate to have whoever we have in our lives.
Exactly. And it might not even be children. It might be friends. It might be an acquaintance who you're not that friendly with, like you wouldn't call them a friend yet, but it's still someone in your life. And it's so easy sometimes, Annette, isn't it? We watch webinars or our live streams or listen to podcasts, whatever it might be. And everyone sounds so together and they have almost a prescription for what to do to get where they are. But I don't think that's what it's about for me. It's about where am I? Where are you? And what are the simple, small things we can do to invite the energy to expand in a way that feels loving and nurturing and good and kind and caring to us? To me, that's what's really important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this lifetime is so good. I'm reveling.
It really is. It really is.
And it's different to what I would have expected. However, wow.
Same here. This part of my life. And, it goes all the way back to the early 90s when I had glandular fever, Ross River fever and Epstein-Barr at the same time. And that was a really tough journey, that one. And for the first 6 months, I was too weak to even hold a book. And I think I might have told this story before. But what it meant was I couldn't distract myself. I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing today if I hadn't experienced that, because I had to look at myself probably for the first time really deeply, look at myself and my life. So sometimes what feels like the worst thing turns out to be the opening for so much more.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And so that's why it's important to look at the bigger picture. And yes, times can be tough. You've had several of them. I just believe that that's part of the journey. I believe at the moment I'm living a charmed existence. However, that wasn't the case the whole time. And if it was, what are we learning? It's through those difficult times that we learn the most about ourselves.
That's so true. And there is an opportunity that exists in those times. And one of our audience members has been going through an extremely challenging and painful time recently. And yet she finds the way to find something, some little thing to be grateful for in the midst of it. To me, this is extremely inspiring. Because when you're in, huge pain, or whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual pain, it's not easy. always, to find anything to be grateful for. So finding that one little thing. Oh, that's a good title for a book. Finding that one little thing can be the beginning of something magnificent.
Yes.
Even if it takes a really long time on that journey. Yep.
I hear you. Mind you, that young man I was talking about, I think it took him 7 years to build his company. So, however, the experiences, and he would say living under a bridge isn't fun, but the experience has built him to where he is today. And your experiences have brought you to where you are. Likewise, my experiences have brought me to where I am. And I'll change that. It's not just the experience, it's how we deal with it that is the important part. Because he could have given up.
Yeah.
He might have decided, oh, well, what's worth it? What's life worth? And yet he had the desire to improve himself. And good on him, and good on you for what you've done. Good on me for what I've done. You know, we've created, with the help of the universe, I believe, because let's face it, I figure we've all got a journey, so to speak. How we do that journey is our choice.
Yes, it is our choice. And choice is a power. And I don't think we sometimes realize that. Choice is a power. It's actually a superpower. Because if I can choose to be miserable over something, I can also choose to do it a different way. So maybe, and I've done this plenty of times, oh my goodness, I was cranky the other day. I was so cranky. I was cranky about everything. It was Lionsgate, everything. And I'm like, I can't be cranky today. It's Lionsgate. I've got to be positive because, you know, so in the end I went, you know what? I won't say what I actually said to myself because it's a rude word. You know, it's the way it is. I'm just going to be okay with the fact that I feel this way because it's not going to last. I know it won't last. And lo and behold, it didn't last. But I was spending a lot of energy criticizing myself. You're not supposed to feel this way on Lionsgate. You know what I mean? So once I made that choice to accept that that was actually how I truly felt and called in some universal support, by that evening, everything was roses again. And I felt great. And I actually felt that energy shift. Just lifted off me.
Yep.
And it wasn't bad juju and it wasn't anything at all. It was just an experience. That was it.
I think to accept our feelings, and they're not always going to be rosy. So to say, yes, I'm having a doozy of a day.
And that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, I feel this way.
I feel angry. What am I angry about? And then let it go. That's the key, rather than when we acknowledge something, we can let it go. Whereas if we don't, if we pretend that everything's rosy, well, we've stuffed that feeling into our body, and that's not good in the long term.
No. And it actually will keep us in that situation far longer than if we choose to say, you know what, I feel really angry today, and give yourself some love. So it's okay that you feel that way, and you will get through it. And call in some universal support, you know, Mother Mary, the angels, Kuan Yin, whoever. Call a friend who won't wallow with you. You know, I'm lucky. I've got friends like that. I've got you, got Carol Ann, got Beth. You know, I've got lovely friends that I can ring up and say, right, this is how I'm feeling today, and be heard, but not, oh, isn't it dreadful, Anayah? You poor thing, because it doesn't do anything. But I hear you, Anayah, and I'm sending you some love. You'll get through this. That's so
Yeah.
empowering. And if you
Well,
don't have a friend that you can do that, because not everyone does, that's one of the reasons why we're here today, to be that support for you.
that's right. And there are people out there, people can turn to Lifeline, which is a wonderful, wonderful institution. And there are other avenues out there as well. So, and who knows, by making that phone call, you might find a friend. You know, that's one of the mysteries of life, isn't it? How we connect with people when,
Yeah.
you know, how I've moved into the village and have made some new friends, lovely friends, as well as the friends I have outside. So it's, just to know that we have choices. And if I want to stay in bed all day, and well, then how wonderful that
Yeah, you
I can
can.
choose to do that. Lock the door or shut the door. It's just me today.
I think that's valuable, actually, to be honest with yourself, about how honest with ourselves about how we may be feeling, is very powerful. I spent so much of my life in it, so many years focusing on everybody else so I wouldn't have to focus on myself, you know. And when I finally, really, it was when I was in bed that time, because it was 2 years I was either in bed or on the couch. It was a long, long time, and it's took and even, you know, then I was very depleted with my energy for a long time. But I needed that time, actually, in retrospect, to get to know myself a bit more and learn how to be kind to me instead of being kind to everybody else and really mean to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an interesting one, isn't it? I have questioned at times, why do I do certain things, and where the reasoning, and sure, let's spread the kindness. That's really important. It's also important to include ourselves in that kindness.
Yeah. I believe it really must start with us, because true kindness includes everyone, even the people. And let's face it, some people you don't want to be around at all, and that's fine. You can still send a kind thought. And sometimes it's difficult, but we can choose to do that. There's the power. So, you know, a little bit of kindness goes a long, long way. And the angels taught me that, because I was never kind to myself until I really started connecting with the angels on a deeper level, which is when the angel code journey into the words whispered to me started to come through. And then they really taught me so much about that. And I'm so grateful, because it just changed everything. It changed my whole, not just my outlook, but my in-look as well.
Right. Now, Trinity Light Divine has joined us and says, yes, self-acceptance of me, oneself, is the key. And that is so true, is it not?
So true. So true. And it's how wonderful that you know this and that you have just shared it with everybody else.
Yeah. So thank you, Trinity. Thank you for joining us. And
thank you.
Yes, putting that point forward is.
We love it when people share in the comments on our live streams, either during the show or after the show. We love that. It's so great to connect with such lovely souls out there.
Absolutely. Well, Anayah, is there something else that you would like to add to our lovely discussion this morning?
Just, I think just to recap, be really good to you. It doesn't matter what you've done, what you've said, what you haven't done. None of that actually really matters. It matters to us, But there is no reason in the whole universe, in all the universes, to be cruel to ourselves or mean to ourselves, because we don't deserve it no matter what. But really learn how to love you the best way you can. When I started, look, Louise Hay got us to look in the mirror, and I couldn't do that. I could not do that. It was too painful for me. So I would learn to look in the mirror and say, I want to love you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And that started opening the door. And it took a lot of years, but I can now say I love me, and I can look at myself in the eyes and say, I really love you, Anayah. So I give yourself a break and look after you and just treasure you and love you. You're the only one anywhere. No, there's not another you, and there never can be. You've been chosen because you're amazing already, valuable, wonderful, necessary, needed. And we're really glad you're here with us and here on earth.
True. Well, thank you, Anayah. Thank you
Annette.
to everyone who chose to listen to us, whether it be live today or down the track. That's one of the beauties, Anayah, of Angel Heart Radio. There are so many videos that people can, like we were talking about the books earlier, gee whiz, go to the videos, and I'm sure whatever you choose will be an answer for whatever you're looking for.
Absolutely. And thank you to Marnie for going overseas and creating this opportunity for me. And on that note, may I just say, Marnie is a magnificent kinesiologist. She works in person, online. Oh, she's my kinesiologist. And oh boy, she's helping me really with some deep stuff.
Right.
So Nick, KINIQUE.com. That's where you'll find her, and on Facebook.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anayah.
Thanks,
and I look forward to seeing people next week when Rosemary joins me. And then later in the month, Anayah comes back.
Yes, because I'm stepping in for Annie while she's away.
Yes.
So thank you for going away.
Yeah. Oh, we're a fabulous team. I love it. And a special hugs to Carol Ann Cross.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Thanks, everybody. Put your best foot forward and give yourself some love and spread it.
Absolutely. Lots of love, everyone.